We're diving deep into video game movies, wild and often unpredictable world. We all know the landscape today. We've seen some genuine bangers, some interesting attempts, and everything in between. But I want to take you back to a time before the modern era of adaptations, a time when Hollywood was still trying to figure out how to translate our favorite digital worlds to the big screen. Before 1995, the track record for video game movies was, shall we say, less than stellar. We're talking about a period that gave us interpretations so unique, they often left fans scratching their heads, wondering if the filmmakers had ever actually played the games. In this video, we're going to take a look back at three prime examples from that era. The bold reimagining of the Mushroom Kingdom in Super Mario Bros., the street-brawling adventures of Double Dragon, and the star-studded yet somewhat perplexing fighter showcase that was Street Fighter. While ambitious in their ways, these movies often missed the mark in capturing the spirit, the tone, and frankly the sheer fun of their source material. But then, everything changed. In 1995, a movie arrived that, while not perfect, felt like a genuine shift, a turning point that showed Hollywood a different path forward. That movie, of course, was Mortal Kombat. So buckle up as we journey back in time to dissect these pre-combat contenders and explore why Mortal Kombat wasn't just another video game movie. It was the moment the game finally started to change. Let's get into it. Alright, let's dive headfirst into the pre-combat pool and try to make sense of what Hollywood was thinking when adapting video games in the early to mid-90s. Because, let's be honest, the results were, something else. We're talking about a trilogy of adaptations that, for many fans, felt like they missed the entire point of the beloved games they were based on. First up, 1993 gave us Super Mario Bros. Now, picture the vibrant, whimsical Mushroom Kingdom, the jumping, the power-ups, the cheerful tunes. Got it? Good. Now erase all of that and replace it with a dark industrial city called Dino Hatton, a Lizard King Bowser with a devolution gun and Goombas that look like rejected extras from a low-budget sci-fi flick. This movie took the core concept of Mario and twisted them into something almost unrecognizable, completely losing the fun and fantasy that made the game so iconic. Then came 1994 and Double Dragon. The games were pure side-scrolling beat-em-up action. Two brothers, Billy and Jimmy Lee, punching and kicking their way through waves of street thugs. The movie? It threw in a futuristic setting, a magical amulet, and a shadow-possessing villain. While the Lee brothers were there in name, the gritty urban brawl was swapped for a more convoluted sci-fi adventure that lacked the satisfying punch of the arcade experience. The action often felt clunky, and the overall tone just didn't quite connect with the simple, butt-kicking fun of the games. Rounding out our pre-combat chaos of '94 was Street Fighter. Now, this one at least had the names we knew: Ryu, Ken, Guile, Chun-Li. But the execution? It often felt more like a generic action with the Street Fighter characters sprinkled on top. The iconic special moves that defined the game were often poorly represented, and the over-the-top personalities of the world warriors were dialed down or just felt off. While Raul Julia's scenery-chewing performance as M. Bison has gained a certain cult status, it wasn't exactly the ruthless dictator fans were expecting. Now, these movies seem to either misunderstand what made the games popular or actively try to reinvent them in ways that alienated the core audience. They were often tonally inconsistent, visually uninspired compared to the games, and ultimately failed to capture the simple joy and excitement of playing. And that, my friends, brings us to the precipice of change, because in 1995 something different happened. So, Mortal Kombat hit theaters in 1995, and while it wasn't a flawless victory, it was a seismic shift. It wasn't just another video game movie. It was the moment Hollywood began to understand the power and passion of the gaming audience. It laid the groundwork for a fundamental change in how these adaptations were approached. Think about it. Before Mortal Kombat, video game movies were largely seen as a risky gamble, often resulting in films that felt disconnected and unsatisfying. But Mortal Kombat showed that respecting the core elements, the characters, the lore, the tone could actually resonate with a significant audience and lead to commercial success. In a way, Mortal Kombat was a crucial step in the evolution of video game adaptations. Much like how early Marvel movies paved the way for the sprawling Marvel Cinematic Universe we know today, or how DC has built its own distinct cinematic televised worlds. Before Mortal Kombat, the landscape of video game movies felt scattered and often disappointing. Afterward, there was a newfound understanding, a dawning realization that there weren't just kids' games. They were rich worlds with dedicated fan bases eager for authentic portrayals. Because of that initial spark, the first real connection with the source material, we've arrived at a point where video game adaptations can be genuinely satisfying. We've seen movies and even television series that not only please existing fans but also draw in new audiences with compelling stories and faithful representations. From the adventurous spirit of Tomb Raider to the atmospheric horror of Silent Hill, the charming world of Pokemon, the speed and heart of Sonic, and the critically acclaimed storytelling of The Last of Us and Arcane. These are all part of a lineage that in many ways can be traced back to the turning point of Mortal Kombat. It truly was a 180-degree shift. The era of largely dismissive and creatively bankrupt video game movies began to give way to an era where studios recognized the potential and the passionate audience waiting for quality adaptations. Mortal Kombat wasn't just a movie. It was a signal, a loud and clear message that when you respect the game will respect the movie. And that, my friends, changed everything for video game movies forever.